question. How many DJ shows do I have to go to before I am also technically a DJ? Right? That's how it works? And then if you recruit 9 DJs, and then they recruit 9 DJs, and then you get a Prius at some point, I think that's how it works. How does my hair look? Be honest. Out of 10. Throw out a number.
Pretty good.
Pretty, okay, 8. I bought dry shampoo recently.
Yeah, you really did win that round.
Yeah, okay, so now, is it because you have seasonal depression?
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm gonna indulge it and buy dry shampoo and never fucking shower again.
Perfect.
I've also been huffing it. It's not working though. Honestly, I'm fine. Like, I am very depressed, but I'm also like fine because I have a lot of coping mechanisms. Like, do you guys know about horizontal cheese eating?
No.
Okay, so that's where you eat cheese horizontally in bed. And then when the part of your brain that still has any zest for life says, hey, at least sit up, you shove cheese in her mouth and tell her to shut the fuck up, and you keep eating cheese. And I'm technically gaining 1 pound per day. That's the math. Yeah, and I don't give a fuck. I will just keep growing and growing. I don't give a shit. I have friends who are so fucking worried about their weight. They're like, I want to be so skinny that when I go up to an automatic door, it just doesn't even open. I don't even register as a person. It's not convenient. I don't want to be that skinny, you know?
I'm more well-adjusted than people who are not depressed, for sure. It's always people who describe themselves as optimists that throw their computer against the wall when it's not working. Like, stop expecting things, you sicko. Your parents together? Grow up. You shouldn't be happy. No, don't worry. We're all Jews here, right? We've all fucked a cousin or two, right? Let's not kid ourselves. So before I start, I do want to say that I feel like my story is the cringiest, and I'm aware it's not like explicitly a competition, but what is charity if not a competition? So I was 20 years old, so about 5 years ago, and I was at the beginning of a relationship with a young man who, among his many quirks, had this thing where, like, he just refused to believe that women farted or pooped. To the point that, like, in not as many words, he basically said, like, if I found out you farted, I would never be attracted to you again. So already this is the cringiest story because I didn't break up with him fucking immediately. I stayed with him. So we were on a road trip with a bunch of our friends. We're going to the States, and we were staying in this like shitty little motel, and I had to take a shit that could only be described as no joke. It was a serious shit. So I go to the bathroom, I poop, and I go to flush it, and I clog the toilet. We all saw that coming. So I didn't know what to do, so I turned on the shower to like bide my time to figure out what I was gonna do. And I was like, okay, what the fuck do I do? Like, okay, basically I just mustered up all the courage in the world to just go out and be like, listen, buddy, I shit, you know? Like, I'm a fucking human. If you prick me, do I not bleed? If I eat too much cheese, do I not get diarrhea? I do get diarrhea because I'm lactose intolerant. So I muster up all the courage in the world to go out there and tell him that. And then instead I shove my hand in the toilet and try and pull my shit out. Did it work? No, that's not what hands are meant to do, right? Like that's not what they're supposed to do. So I try and pull my shit out of the toilet. Doesn't work. Wash my hand off in the shower. And then I walk out to everyone and I'm like, guys, it's so weird. Like, I peed. And then I guess someone's shit from like who stayed here before came up through the pipes. And my friends were like, okay. And, but my ex was like, that makes sense. I've heard of that happening. Right? Because we all have to tell ourselves lies. You know, there's lies we need to get through life. So I proceeded to stay with this guy for 3 years. Essentially compromising myself as a person for somebody that still does not know how to use a fork and knife. That's true info. And until one day I woke up and I was like, fuck this. I can be with somebody who's okay with me shitting. Not last week. I got a message on OkCupid from a guy who really wanted me to shit on his chest. So I know there are men who will accept me for who I am. So I broke up with him and I'm single and I've just been shitting and farting my way through my late 20s. And this is just a story about knowing who you are and accepting yourself for all of who you are, including your insides. All right, that's it for me. Thanks, guys. Who wants to talk about Weekend at Bernie's? I know I do. Do you guys know that film? Any Bernie heads in the room? I really miss that era of cinema. I feel like we've lost all the whimsy of, I guess it was the 90s, late 90s. I just feel like I'm really sick of mumblecore, how many Duplass brothers do I need to see navigate love? So that's how every one of those movies goes, and I'm just I'm over it. I just feel like, do you guys realize there hasn't been a movie starring a talking baby since 2001? Okay, that's bleak. That's upsetting. And I don't want to blame it on 9/11, but I do feel like everyone was so anxious after 9/11 about everything, right? So if Baby Geniuses came out post 9/11, people would be like, does Al-Qaeda have baby geniuses? What are we doing on the baby genius front? Is Kuman as good as they say? It's not that good.
I think I'm very typically Torontonian in the sense that I was born and raised here, and anything outside the borders of Toronto is just I don't know. I don't know the names of the towns. I don't know what their industries are. I just know that in my mind they're impossibly tiny. And because whenever I meet people from small towns and I'll be like, oh, where are you from? They'll be like, oh my god, my town's so small you would have never even heard of it. It's one of those towns where everybody in town knows each other. Everyone knows every other person, and my cousin Sue is my daughter, and there's one well, and basically everybody in town lost their virginity to this gender neutral prom deity, and the whole town is on the tip of a snowflake, and when I moved out I ingested the town, and I'm just hoping it passes.
Oh, I'm passionate about TV and movies. Not because I'm smart and I analyze them. I just that's all I fucking do. I just watch a lot of TV and I watch a lot of movies. And my version of hell is that it's exactly like life is right now. But every show on TV is just a real-time version of the most boring things that happen on Earth. So we'd have the show Party of Five. You guys know Party of Five? But this show on Hell, Party of Five would just be about 5 people just trying to split the check at the end of a meal. And then we'd have Whose Line Is It Anyway? But that's just about a group of fishermen. And all of their lines are tangled up and they're just trying to find out whose line is it anyway? And then every episode at the very end, there's always a close-up of one of the fishermen, and then it zooms out, and it just see which line he's holding. And there's a voiceover, and they're Daryl had the braid fishing line. And then people in the audience in hell are oh, that was a surprise to me. I thought that Cleo was gonna have the braid fishing line.